Hello, my name is Kennedy, and this is my friend Adrian.
Hey.
And this is our first podcast. It's mainly going to be concentrated on trans issues, our experience as trans women of color, me, me attacking Miss Adrian, and just
Gaslighting.
gaslighting 101, and just issues we think are important, or just random topics that relate to our lives and our trans experience.
Music things.
And music things too, and our goals and aspirations. And also a lot about Mariah Carey and vocals, as Miss Adrian just said. So today's topic is New Year's. Today's New Year's. It's January 1, 2021. And we spent New Year's Eve together just lounging, sleeping, resting, and eating pizza while our family members are celebrating in quarantine, I guess. But as I said, our topic is New Year's Day and maybe resolutions we have for this year, a reflection of 2020, and just anything that comes up. So we'll get started. And I'm going to take a sip of my water. And I think, to me, 2020 was a mess. And I think Miss Adrian can talk a little bit about that too, because she's kind of my best friend, and I've been through a lot in 2020. I had my gallbladder removed. Then my dad was hospitalized for a while because of COVID, and my whole family got COVID as well. But then I've also been kind of like learning more about who I am as a trans woman, and just discovering parts of me that I didn't because of quarantine. So a lot of shit happened, but also a lot of good self-discovery. And Miss Adrian, what about you?
I also got COVID.
She did it,
yeah. In my family.
Your dad did though, right?
Yeah, my dad got COVID.
Yeah.
I lost my sense of smell
Mm-hmm.
/ taste. I was never officially diagnosed.
Yeah.
But I think I had it.
You think you had COVID?
I think I did.
When?
When I lost my sense of taste.
Was that during the summer?
No, when my dad got it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we didn't. We were in quarantine for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both had the full COVID experience, unfortunately.
Actually, you actually like got in pain. Like
I think my experience was a little bit.
I think I had the mild case.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I've heard that there's like different, not levels, but experiences of COVID, and I feel like mine was a little. Like,
you got the full effect.
The full experience as a client. But it's really horrible, and I remember I kind of fell into like a mini depression episode, but not more because of like my pain, but it was more because of like
your dad.
My dad, because we were literally like preparing ourselves, like, okay, we're gonna get the call, and like we won't be able to say bye or to like physically be with him. But thankfully the universe didn't allow that to happen, and thankfully the universe didn't allow that to happen. So I'm beyond grateful for that. But I think it was more of like the turmoil was like more severe because of like this external thing that was happening to my dad. It wasn't me. But I did start therapy, and I think Miss Adrian and I both had a pretty hectic summer. I don't know. For me, it was more like about self-discovery, and I don't know. Did you have any self-discovery or like discovering who you were in your trans experience?
Just discoveries. I feel like I felt a lot of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Same old shit.
Yeah.
Cricket.
No, it makes sense, because it's like, it can be repetitive, especially during COVID, and I feel like we all have a similar experience to everyone in the world right now. We're just like in lockdown. But like I said, this topic isn't really structured, and it's not really gonna have a structure. It's just gonna be us on long tangents.
Wait, but what did you discover?
Oh, I think my discovery was a discovery that happened even before COVID. It was more like, why do I care about being feminine, and like, why do I care about like what I wear to the grocery store, or like how I present myself, or how I'm like performing femininity, if that makes sense. And like, now I think at the early stages of my transition, it was like, I need to be super hyper feminine, and I need to like I need to cater
Tits out.
Yeah, tits out, and cater to like cis men and like the world they live in. But now it's more like,
do you think that changed because you realized you were attracted to you're more like, your attraction is more like wide range, not just cis men?
I think so. It's like, I feel like my sexual orientation has become more like questioning, or like more of a spectrum. And before I transitioned, it was like, I only like straight men. That's like the only thing that like gives me pleasure, I guess. But now it's more like, I find women, like men and like non-binary folk attractive. It's like, it's kind of more like, I realize that I have nothing in common with straight men.
Does that help you feel like, I'm just trying to pick your brain?
Yeah.
Things such as
yeah.
Do you think that helps you, since you don't have that, since your attraction is more open, you're more like, oh, I don't have to be this feminine thing because I don't have to attract a certain person?
Yeah, I think so. It was like I'm not solely catering to straight cis men. It's more like, if someone likes me, like, I hope it's for who's inside and not for how I physically perform femininity to society, or how I present myself. And I feel like I realize that I have nothing in common with straight men, and like even a lot of other people. So I think that's what it's kind of making the self-discovery a little bit more easier, because I'm like, okay, like, I like who I am on the inside most of the time. Hopefully other people can see that, and I can build something from that, because why be with someone if you have nothing in common, if that makes sense? What about you?
What about me?
Is it like, do you feel like you're performing femininity for like society, or is it more like, who gives a fuck?
I feel like yeah, it's complicated.
No, it's a very intense question.
Like, I personally, like, I like feminine things, you know? Like, I'm very, as you would say, like, do you know Cat Black? Or no, never mind. Let me not reference that. But just, I'm like, I'm very, like, boring when it comes to my attraction.
Like vanilla.
Yes, so vanilla, like, so traditional. I don't know why. Like, I'm not trying to be traditional.
Yeah.
But just, like, I'm super, submissive, that stereotypical submissive, like, into, like, that overly dominant. Like sometimes, like, even though it's and like I know it's toxic, you know, that like overly dominant, protective person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why I'm like so boring in that way. like I'm just attracted to the stereotypical like muscly, like, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I feel like there's,
and I don't know why. Maybe I just grew up with that in the media or something. Probably, right?
Yeah, like nurtured to kind of be that way. I feel like it's nice, like desiring having protection. And I know, like, we both come from different backgrounds, and I feel like my experience is a little bit more different.
True. Yeah.
So, like, I feel like my need for protection.
You grew up with sisters.
Yeah. I grew up with 2 sisters, and a brother, and my parents, and for the longest time I thought they hated like queer people, but it turns out they didn't.
Yeah.
But I feel like your situation
and for the longest time I thought my siblings and my family hated queer people, and they did.
It's not proven 100% yet though, right? It's not like it's a theory still.
Well, I know my brother, because I haven't talked to one of my brothers in like 10 years, but but I don't talk to him because he's a very, from what I know, he's a very toxic, racist kind of, racist /
individual,
just bad person.
So maybe,
no,
maybe like it stems, like the need for protection stems from like your childhood.
Well,
like, I'm not a therapist or anything, but
I just want to warn everyone. No, it is because I know, like, growing up, because my brothers weren't, like I said, we're very ignorant growing up. You'd think, like, being the youngest and having 3 older brothers, you'd think they'd feel some need to protect their younger sister, but it wasn't like that. It was very, like, just very, they were very not that. So I think, and then, like, I had problems at school sometimes. So I think that's probably why, because I was like, even as a kid, I was like, I just want my prince to come and save me.
I feel like that makes total sense. It's like a whole, like, you were kind of missing that in your childhood. And I feel like at times I also felt like that. Like, I always felt like I had daddy issues or something, or like I felt less connected to like this male authority figure in my life, or the patriarchy of like needing kind of that protection. But also it was very toxic in my family, because I feel like at the beginning of my life, my family was very dysfunctional and like abusive towards each other, and just like a lot of bad history with extended family. So I kind of also feel like craved that protection. But then I feel like as I grew up, I was like, I kind of want to be my own like protector, or I want to like, I kind of like, for me, my transition and the relation I have to need a protection is more like I want to protect myself, and like, I don't want to depend on other people for protection. And it's like still something I haven't mastered. So it's like still like, it's still something I'm trying to like learn and develop as a like human skill, I guess. But it's something that I also kind of desire, but not. I feel like our desire for protections are very different, but they're also very similar at times. I feel like, if that makes sense.
Is it digging deeper into this? Is it a physical thing, like you want a physical protection, or is it an emotional thing? Because I feel like for me it's it can be, yeah, I think a lot of it is physical. Like, I guess I do want to be super cliche and, like, want a man to, like, be able to beat anyone's ass that tries to touch me, you know?
I'm Mariah.
Yeah.
We're referencing the meaning of Mariah on iTunes. I'm just kidding. But
What is the app again?
on Audible. Go check it out. But I think
try it. 3 months subscription for free.
I feel like
use our sponsor code that we don't have.
I feel like it's both physical. I feel like it's more physical than emotional, the need for protection. Because I feel like at times, like, I'm still self-discovering, but at times I'm like, damn, I wish I did have someone to, like, to go to the grocery store when I have really bad anxiety, where I don't really have to fear of, like, someone, like, doing something crazy. Like, I know we're in 2020 and we're in a pretty progressive part of Oregon, but there's still, like, that fear of running into someone who's not as understanding of your identity. And I do have those days where I'm like, damn it, I wish I had someone to walk
actually,
me.
there's a lot of people like that here.
Who?
That aren't understanding, don't you think?
In Hillsborough or in Oregon?
Just in Oregon?
Yeah, but I feel like it's not as bad. Like, I feel like Hillsborough is, like, a mix of, like, urban and suburban-ish, and, like, country. Yeah. And I feel like it's not, like, I've lived in country, like, full out, like, 500 people in the town. Yeah, in the border of Canada, where it's, like, I'm not wearing a dress here, or I'm not, like, gonna perform femininity. True. But
no, actually, you're right, because there's some places where it's, like, there's just no room.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think that, like, how you said, the need for physical protection is probably a factor into it, but I feel like I'm working on the emotional part where I'm like, I don't, like, need anyone, and I can be my own savior, if that makes sense. But it's pretty hard. It's not easy. But I think that's one of the main reasons why I started going to therapy as well. But
true.
Yeah.
I think and even going to think deeper. And even going, so we talked about wanting physical protection.
Yeah.
And I guess it's also, I think I thought that it wasn't emotional either, but I do find myself, like, when I'm emotional, if I'm talking to, like, a man or something, I do find myself going to them when I'm sad and feeling like I need a man to talk to at the moment, you know? I don't know why. Like, I feel like, I just feel like I said, I'm very cliche.
Yeah. No, it's...
Did you ever go through a time where you had a connection with a man and you felt like...
We're making faces right now because, like, we know my history with men.
But were you ever felt a connection to a man and you felt like when you were sad you wanted to talk to them? Just for that masculine energy? Or not?
I'm, like, thinking really hard right now. And I don't think I've ever had that connection with a man.
That type of connection. Okay, yeah.
Unfortunately,
that makes sense.
I haven't experienced it, so I don't think I can.
It's honestly not easy to make that connection either, though. So
yeah, it's like I feel like I don't have that experience yet. So, like, I'm sure if I ever do have it, I'll, like, have a different.
Like, you could see yourself, if you ever connected to a man, you could see yourself wanting to go to them for emotional things.
I think so, but not, like, because I have a sister who's very dependent on her boyfriend, and my mother was actually very dependent on my dad, and, like, almost every female figure in my life has been, like, they kind of depend on men in this emotional and, like, economical way as well. So it's like, in my brain as a child, I always thought to myself, like, I never want to, like, depend on an individual for, like, emotional support, because I've seen what someone with that power can do to someone and just destroy their life and destroy their mental health. So I feel like I've never tried, like, I feel like my brain has never tried to do that because I don't want to be in that position. And I'm pretty sure there are really healthy relationships out there that don't end up on, like, that kind of spectrum of a relationship. But for me, I think because I was so, like, conditioned to be in that environment, it's, like, one of the things I have in my list to never do. But I have had times in my life, like when I was battling depression and suicidal thoughts, or, like, things in my transition where I was like, I wish I had someone to talk to. And, like, I'm like, I know I'm like this powerful, independent, feminine energy, but I'm like, damn it, I wish I had someone to talk to, and I'm so lonely right now. But then, like, my brain is like, oh my gosh, imagine if you were, like, in a shitty relationship right now, and that person, like, basically, if the male figures in my life were a part of who I am as, like, a single individual in the dating world, I would be like, fuck this. Like, my mom was very dependent on my dad, and kind of still is, but not like the, like, money wise thing and, like, home wise, but more like emotional. And I saw some pretty fucked up things as a kid, with, like, their mental relationship and how they kind of navigated their marriage. And I think it's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm afraid of being dependent on someone emotionally. And I think that's why I was having such a hard time, like, thinking of, like, did I ever feel like that with someone? And I think as I've transitioned, and as I've grown up, I feel like I don't want to put that burden on people, if that makes sense. Because I feel like when I was younger, I would put a lot of burden on people in my life and be like, I'm so, like, sad right now, and I'm so going through stuff. But it's also...
You to be sad.
Yeah, kind of. And I feel like it's... I'm not saying that it's not nice to have a support system, but for me...
It's not what you're looking for right now?
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to make people feel like they have a pressure to help me. Because, like, I know that I like being alone a lot of the times. But, like, I'm like, I need my space. Like, I need kind of my sanctuary in my little room / RV. But yeah, I think hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, like, no. But yeah, I think that, yeah, a lot of self-discovery on my side, and I think maybe you have a little bit of that too. And just, I hope that this new year I can maybe get more things in my medical transition started. And hopefully I can improve my mental health, because I started therapy because of my undiagnosed self-esteem issues, anxiety, and just, like, other things I'm dealing with, that maybe we can talk a little bit more about in future podcast episodes. But I'm trying to improve who I am on the inside, if that makes sense, for this year. And trying to be a better human being at the same time, but also trying to live life. Because I watched Soul, the new Pixar movie, and the whole point of that movie was to, like, live your life, like, that you don't have a purpose in life. It's more about your purpose of life is living. It's not like, oh, my purpose in life is art and music and, like, all this. It's like, your purpose in life is to live your life every day.
To live art and music.
Basically. But yeah, that movie was really inspiring, and I think that's something I'm going to try to keep in this new year of 2021 after we get vaccinated. What about you, Miss Adrian?
I really want to get I want to eat healthier things.
Mm-hmm.
Just less junk food, because I feel like if you are what you eat, so that'll help with my mental state if I'm not constantly eating junk food.
Yeah.
I just want to be a green girl.
That makes sense. I feel like our things are kind of similar. Like, I want to stop binge eating first. That's one of my other goals. But I feel like you're much more healthier than I am. If you all knew us, you would get that. But I feel like
If all one of you listening knew us.
But I feel like those are two good goals to have for this year, because it's. Oh, and also I want my career to be stable. My professional design career, and hopefully we can both flourish in this new year, and hopefully our turn to get vaccinated will be soon, and we have health on our side, our family members, happiness. The musical.
The musical. Lyric and book. Yes, family happiness, peace, love, prosperity.
I feel like, those are all good things. And I feel like when I was a little younger, I mean, I'm still young. I'm just kidding.
Numerically speaking.
But
I discount numbers.
basically. But I used to think New Year's resolutions were so cringe. I thought it was something.
I don't think I ever officially vocalized one.
Really?
Yeah.
I
don't think I've ever celebrated New Year's with anyone.
We kind of didn't
Like
either today. We kind of didn't either today. But
Just kidding.
I wish podcast episodes had facial expressions or screenshots or something. But
yeah, I slept through the New Year.
And I was watching Veneno and eating pizza, so it's not that bad. But I feel like, wait, what were you saying?
I don't know.
I forgot. This is gonna be a common occurrence in our podcast where we forget what we're talking about.
I don't know. I said I never celebrated it with anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Did you? Were you talking about your past?
I feel like I did, but I wrote them. But I always thought it was super cringe.
Oh,
I thought it was something like.
I wrote them.
I thought it was something like 30-year-old white women did. Like, I don't know why. I just thought
white people did.
Yeah, I was like, a brown little trans girl like me can't, like, nothing is gonna change. But now I'm kind of starting to believe in the power of me, even though it sounds super cliche. But yeah, I'm taking it more seriously this year, I think. Not more seriously, but more like with hope, with more like positivity, if that makes sense.
And? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think that was a good. I think that was a good first podcast episode. I think that was. Yeah, we talked about a little bit about who we are, our year with COVID. Unfortunately, who we aren't
as well.
Yeah, who we aren't. I'm not a Republican. And
who will never be.
What is be?
I'm being stupid now, by the way.
It's okay. It's all part of the podcast procedure.
The podcast.
The podcast. But I also talked about my goals or my hopes for this year, and I think you did too. So, this is Kennedy Barrera.
Cruz de la Montero Cruz.
Quintanilla Lopez. And my good friend Adrian.
Adriana Lima.
Adriana Lima. Write that down. And this is our first podcast.
How about that?
And we're still coming up with a name, so we don't have an official name. But hopefully, if anyone is hearing this...
Memoirs of a Lamb.
Memoirs of two trans girls. But hopefully, you can stay connected to this podcast. Follow us. I'll probably post our social media links somewhere.
You should tell them that sometimes we make overly exaggerated feminine voice as a joke.
Oh yeah, sometimes we make fun of our own femininity, and you'll be able to understand our sense of humor and our personalities a little bit more.
You should tell them hi.
Hi. It's so cringe.
Well,
I'll see you guys later. No, but that's literally what we do half the time. But hopefully you get to know us a little bit.
Everyone gets offended.
Hopefully you get to know us a little bit better, and you get to know about the trans experience, especially coming from two Indigenous women living in random Oregon. But hopefully this reaches someone. So we'll see you in our next episode. Bye bye, guys.
Kisses.
Mwah.